Hey, kia ora, Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast, number 2061, down memory lane. Yeah, I've been knee-deep in 28 years of stuff. So yeah, stuff's going to come up, and you have to excuse the appearance. We just got back from a walk. I am hot. I am sweaty. I need a shower. I've been sorting through boxes most of the day, and going for little walks down memory lane. So I thought I'd bring you up to date and share some stuff with you with what we did and what I found. And I'm still trying to figure it all out. Oh, that's the main one. That's the one I want. Okay, so oh yeah, and fun things that I've come across as well. Yeah, I can tell I need a. Hate it when it's going to get sweaty. Yes, so we found some cool stuff today. But I had two items on my list that I had to find today, and the only time I could stop is if I found both, or if I filled the recycling can. None of that has happened. I have found one item off the list. The second item I am still searching for. And as soon as this is finished, I'm going to grab something to eat, grab something to drink, because I am totally thirsty. So you'll probably see me grabbing my water a lot. It's 86 degrees outside, 86 degrees Fahrenheit outside, which is around 29 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it's been a warm day. But yeah, so one of the things on my list was to find the remote for a VHS DVD player. It's the two systems on one thing. I actually have one, and I found it the other day, and I was talking to a friend of mine who's in Georgia, and their one just broke. And they said, we'll buy it off you if you like. And I went, okay. And so I said, I need to find the remote. So today I thought, right, remote first, then we're going to find the notes from that mastermind that we did several years ago. And there's a specific note I need to find. If I find them, and I've got several notebooks from mastermind meetings over the last almost 11 years. So I need to find the right notebook. I can't just find my mastermind notes. I need to find a specific notebook that has in the details that it has what I'm looking for. So one of the first things I found was the remote. I went over to the packers folded it all into this thick padded paper stuff, the DVD/VHS player, plugged it, wrapped it all that. So I put that onto the table. Its instruction manual was with it. And I'm like, okay, the remote has to be with it somewhere. And so I had there was a parcel of paper there. So I opened up this parcel of paper, and it was all cords. None of them relating to the VHS player. They had to do with a modem. And I'm like, oh, no, a router, not a modem, a router. So I was like, okay. So we put them aside, and there was the remote sitting right underneath them. So I was like, okay, that's one thing checked off the list. Yay! Now to carry on and find the other thing. So we've emptied a few boxes. There are a couple of boxes that were completely destroyed so they're now in the recycle bin. The recycle bin is about somewhere between 1/2 and 3/4 full. There's even 2 baskets from the shredder in there as well. So we made a lot of progress today. And I went back and I looked, and if I opened up the curtains here, you wouldn't be able to see any progress because it's all on the far side of the room. Because that's where the DVD VHS player was. And so I'm going down that row, and it's like, open a box, empty the box. I have to go through the box. That's the rule. Except there are some when I've opened it and I've gone, okay, that's all photo albums. I don't need to go through that box because it's just the photo albums. There was another box. Oh, there was a box full of journals. Yes, I did go through that. I pulled it in here, and I now have piles of journals down here on the floor with stuff that are ones that are completely empty, ones that have journaling notes in one, and then the other pile has business ideas and seminar notes and all that sort of stuff. And I did have a little emotional bit today because I pulled up one of the notebooks and opened it, and it was all in Brad's handwriting. It was a workshop that he had attended, and it was all of his notes from it. Can I read any of them? No. His handwriting at times was took a lot to be desired. But anyway, so I found that notebook. Do you think I'm throwing that out? Absolutely not. Yeah. So next Sunday is his birthday too. I've got a plan for that day. I'm still deciding what I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch Star Wars, Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. I don't know. It's his birthday. And if I watch Star Wars, am I doing the original 3 movies, or am I doing the movies that came out, the next 3 that came out years later? They're actually before the ones that came out in 1977 onwards. I don't know. It's still up in the air on what I'm going to do. But yeah, I'm planning something for his birthday next weekend. I don't know what it is, but I might even make a pineapple upside down cake because that was his favorite. I don't know. Anyway, so what did we find today that I wanted to share with you? Well, one of the things I found, and I actually sent a photo of this to my friend to say, you're not going to believe, look what I just found. And back in 2012, I got to test out an eating and exercise plan, and it worked really, really good. And I was doing really, really well until Brad's cancer came back and it all got pushed to the side. And here we are today. So it was really weird because over the last couple of weeks, I keep thinking, I really want to do that plan again. I wonder if I still have it. I'm pretty sure I've still got it. Well, that was in one of that after I found all the remote and everything else, that was in one of the first boxes that I opened today, was this entire program sitting there. So I took a picture of the front page of it and sent it off to my friend. He says, look what I found. I'm actually going to start doing this again. And so she says, if you need any help or anything with it, just let me know. And I'm like, perfect, thank you. So I still have a support system in place on that. And I'm gonna have fun on this one. So I've got to put together pull out the eating plan, pull out the grocery list, and get all the groceries first before we can start. So that will be this week's thing. So we can start. I'm going to start it on the 1st of April. And no, it's not an April Fool's. I'm going to actually start. Actually, I may even start it on the 31st of March because that's a Monday. Good to start at the beginning of the week. So I've got all week to get ready for it and everything else. And there's even a 2-day cleansing. There's a 2-day detox thing that you do it before you start. So the 2-day detox, I might actually do that on the Sunday, Monday, and then start the plan on Tuesday. This is for the week after this coming week. Then the next thing I came across this thing, and it just had a whole pile of paper in it. Like there was this one box I opened and it was all paper. And I'm like, oh, jeepers. So I had a quick sift through it. Most of it was medical records and health insurance stuff. And I'm like, okay, that is going on the shredding pile. And I've got a definite shred pile. And then I've got a go through and shred pile. I'm going to be going through everything as I shred it anyway. So that's in my shredding pile. I was sort of like, yeah, I am not going to go through. I mean, the stack of paper was like this. It was all that was in that box was just a stack of paper like this. I'm like, I ain't going through that. Yeah. Even though my rule is go through. No. So that went onto the shredding pile because it looks, just flipping through it looks like most of it, if not all of it's going to end up in the shredder anyway. And so then I went to the next box, and in the next box I found this handy dandy little map. Oh, what's this? And it's actually the San Diego Metro Discovery Map from 2014. So this is when my parents were over here. We actually had fun on this one. So this is like the downtown harbor area. And then this is the complete downtown area of San Diego. And then this is, there's the Balboa Park inset where the zoo is. And then this is Old Town inset here. And this is basically the downtown area. And then this is Coronado with the harbor in here. And on this particular day, we did the harbor cruise. And the harbor cruise, there's 2 parts, or you can do the whole thing. The whole thing is a 3-hour cruise. And I always remember this because Brad, every time we did the harbor cruise, we always did both halves. We did the north part and the southern part, and it didn't matter which one was doing. So we would get on there and we'll go down in the south part, all through the Navy yards and everything else. You get to see all the Navy ships that are there, down underneath the Coronado Bridge and beyond. And then you turn around and you come back again. You call back into port. You drop off those that were finishing that cruise and reloading those that are starting the cruise. And then we go and we did the other part of the northern part, and up past the restaurant where everybody yay and waves at you and all that sort of stuff as you go past. And and every time we go, and Mum, we get on the boat, Mum's sort of like, well, how long is this cruise? And Brad, I go 3 hours, and Brad starts singing Gilligan, the theme song for Gilligan's Island, on a 3-hour cruise. So always remember those ones. So that was the map for that. Then I found this map, and look at this. This is in 2014. So this is 11 years ago, almost 11 years ago, because we did it in May. This was May 2014 when we did this. And this is San Diego down here. This is LA up here. We actually did drive from San Diego up to LA. We called it the Big Tour because what we did is that we drove from here to here. And it was in May 2014 when all those the wildfires were going on in Southern California as well. There was a lot of them going on. And we were on the I-5 heading up to LA because we were going to the Science Museum so we could go see the space shuttle. Was it Endeavour? I think it was Endeavour. So we'd go see the space shuttle. And we had timed tickets to be in there by 12 noon. And so we left a little early, which is just as well we did because we're getting along there on the 5 and just past the inspection station that they have there on the 5 as you're heading north. We see these big plumes of smoke. We're like, oh my gosh. And we're like in bumper to bumper traffic. We finally get through the inspection area and past that. And it was actually a truck on fire, not an 18-wheeler, but the next size down. And it was completely gutted. I've got pictures of it and everything else. And all you could see was the frame of what was left at the back of the truck. And it's not one that has a trailer. It's a full truck. But what had happened was it had somehow caught fire. It had sent the fire up the hillside of the 5. And it had, because of the winds, it had jumped across the 5, all, I think, 8 lanes. I think it's 4 in each direction. So it had gone across there, over onto the grass on the other side of the 5, and where the rail track is. And we could see the train sitting further down because all the scrub by the rail line had caught fire. So the train couldn't go anywhere. So we could see the train waiting to come south, the Amtrak train waiting to come south on that. So we finally got past that. We got to the museum. We were actually 2 minutes early, got there 2 minutes early. And we went in and had a great time. And there were kids everywhere. It was a Wednesday and there were kids everywhere. The place was mobbed with kids, all in different colored t-shirts. But you saw that there was groups had different colored t-shirts on for different schools, different classes, whatever. At one point, as we're getting ready to come out, we're upstairs and we look down into the foyer area of the museum, and there are just groups of red shirts, yellow shirts, green shirts, blue shirts, purple shirts, just kids everywhere, but they're all having to sit in their groups. And I think they were doing head counts and all that and getting everybody, because we could still see the stragglers coming behind us and going down the escalator to join these kids downstairs. They basically got a free run of the place. They didn't have to move together. They could go explore, but they had to meet back there at a certain time or whatever it was. And I took one look at that and I went, oh my gosh, we've got to go through that, because you get to the bottom of the escalator and the doors past these kids. So my mum gets on the escalator and she just starts walking down the escalator and I'm right behind her, and then Dad, then Brad. Well, I think Brad might have been behind me, but we just plowed through these kids and straight out the doors. And then we met more colored t-shirts outside as well. It's like, jeepers, how many colors? There was every color of the rainbow plus was in t-shirt. There's groups were all around and the buses were all lining up and everything else. And Brad's like, quick, let's get to the car and get out of here before those buses start going. So we did. And then we went up to his mum's place because we were going to be staying there for a couple of nights. And I tell you, it wasn't. But what the Endeavour doing the whole space shuttle thing was pretty good, because they had it sitting on its wheels. They're actually building a new building for it where it's actually going to be sitting in launch position, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. They had a model of what it's going to look like, and I think it was either last year or the year before they shut that display down. Why they shut the display down, I don't know, because it's not moving to its new residence until it's built, which they're in the process of building. So I don't know why they're closing it all down, but anyway, we got to do the whole display and everything else and actually walk around the shuttle and see what the new building's going to look like. And then you could walk around the outside of the room. They had a pictorial history of the shuttle's history, of the shuttle program's history, as well as that particular shuttle's history was, of course it was all in there. So they had kind of like a timeline that went all the way around the walls and everything else. It was pretty cool. And then Brad got talking to this one guy and they were space talking. I stood there for 2 minutes and went, I'll be back, and walked away for about 30 minutes, come back and they're still going. One of the volunteers that worked there was very much into the space program. And of course, Brad has had a very keen interest in the space program as well. And so the two of them were they were off in their own little world and their own little galaxy, having their conversation on space and the space program. And it was just wonderful to see him engaged with, to see Brad so engaged with somebody like that. And somewhere along the way, I found my parents and we hooked up with that. And then we went back and got Brad and literally had to drag him away from this guy. He spent like this guy just, and they were standing under the fuselage of the shuttle talking, just in their little space, like I said, in their own little orbit, their own little galaxy. They were fine. At least I didn't have to go looking for them. But the place wasn't that crowded anyway, which was kind of good. So from there, let's see if I can remember this. So from there, we went over to Palm Springs. We did this big loop. So this is going down through Palm Springs, across to Arizona, up through Phoenix, Cottonwood, Flagstaff. We did the Grand Canyon, came along here. We stayed at a Best Western. Oh, that Best Western's got a funny story. I'll tell you about that in a second. Up here through the Hoover Dam, down through Vegas, wherever Vegas went to. I can't find Vegas on the map. Oh, yeah, there it is up there. So we did the Hoover Dam and then stayed in Vegas for a couple of nights and then drove from Vegas all the way back down to San Diego. That was we did the big loop. We did a big loop. It was 18 hours and 31 minutes of driving. And it covered 1,232 miles, I think. Hang on. Oh, it's broken. That one's broken down into little trips. Our last one was 303 miles. That was our last leg. But it's like 1,232 miles that we had to drive for that. And then, 1,232 miles. But I even had there it is. Drive 1,232 miles for 18 hours and 31 minutes. And there's a smaller picture of the thing. And then we did the little pieces. I broke it down into the different legs that we were doing and what we were doing with that. When we got to Palm Springs, we did the aerial tramway, went up there and took Mum and Dad up to the top of the mountain. We stayed at a Best Western plus Palm Desert. Yes. And it was one night. Yeah, we were there for one night. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 2 guests, one night. Yeah. And on the 16th and on the 17th of May. Yeah. And so we went to the top of the tram thing and did all the sightseeing stuff up there, had a snack up there, came back down again. And then from there, we went to Cottonwood. We went and stayed in Cottonwood. Now, Cottonwood's the one that has the story. That's right. Cottonwood's the one that has the story. So we get to the Cottonwood. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort my maps out here. I think that's the canyon. Hang on. Yes, that's the Grand Canyon. Yes, no, maybe. Oh, no, that's Sedona. Yeah, we did that. We spent part of the time there. That's the crater. This is the Grand Canyon one. So after we left there, we went and stayed in Cottonwood for the night. With plans going, and we went through to Sedona the next day, but we stayed in Cottonwood for the night, and we're at this Best Western. There was a Walmart across the road, and by the time we got there, I was pretty whacked, and Brad was, so we decided to have a snooze. And Mum and Dad decided to go across to Walmart and do some shopping because apparently they have these shorts these cargo shorts that my dad likes, and he can't get them anywhere else except at a Walmart here in the States. So they went across and got him 1 or 2 pairs of shorts with all the extra pockets in it and all that sort of stuff. And I don't remember what we did for dinner that night. I think we went and got takeout and came back to the motel and ate it there. Then the next day we went through Sedona. So this is our map of Sedona that we got given at the visitors center with all the different places to go and things to see and do. And we were on trying to find the road we were on. This is where we met the rattlesnake. We did go to the Church in the Rock that they have there. The Chapel of the Holy Cross. We did do that. There is there it is. So over here is this little loop road. This little loop road here. This little one right here. And you get to that, and you get halfway around, and then you can see the Cathedral Rock from this. You go to the tip of this thing, and you can see you got a good view here of the Cathedral Rock. So Brad decided to stay in the car, and so Mum, Dad, and I walked out to the point here, took some pictures of the cathedral rock, then turned around and walked back, and I kicked a stone. And I kicked that stone, and the next thing I hear is shh. And all I did was, I'm like, what is that? I'm like looking for the snake. I wasn't sure if it was a rattler or not. I didn't know. I'd never met one before. I'd never heard one before. But I knew it rattled. And I'm like looking, is there a snake around? I said, Mum, I said, get in the car quick. They're like, why? I said, there's a snake around here somewhere. And so we got in the car, and Brad goes, because he saw us run across the road. He goes, what's the matter? I says, I think I heard a rattler, but I'm not sure. He goes, did it sound like a baby's rattler? I went, yeah. I said, I kicked the stone and I heard this rattling noise. And he goes, yeah, that was a rattler. And I said, well, I don't know where it is. We just heard it and we came over here straight away. We weren't going to go looking for this thing. But yeah, so we drove around Sedona and saw all these different shapes out of the rocks and everything else, which was pretty cool. And then we drove through to Flagstaff. And was it at Flagstaff? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember which one it was at. One of the ones we got to, or was it Cottonwood? Yeah, no, it was Cottonwood. So at Cottonwood, we go to get into bed that night, and of course we pull back the covers, and there's a couple of hairs on, and I looked at Brown and says, these sheets do not look clean. And so I called down the front desk and explained to them, look, we're just getting ready for bed, and the bed does not look clean as far as the sheets go. She says, I'll be right up. And so the girl came up there. By the time she got it, and she took one look at the bed and go, oh, somebody totally screwed up with this one. And we stripped everything off the bed, and she gave us all new clean bedding and everything else. I stood on one side, she stood on the other, and we got it made like that. And she profusely apologized for it and everything else. And I can't remember what she did. She did something for us. I don't remember what it was, but it got taken care of. Then the next, and so after, so we went up to Flagstaff, stayed there for the night. Then we drove through to the Grand Canyon. And this was at a Ramada that night? Yeah, we stayed at a Ramada that night. And this, of course, was the brochure we got of the Grand Canyon with all the maps and everything on it. And we took some nice walks out to their lookout points and everything else, got some really cool pictures and photos. And we were standing at one lookout point, and we looked across, and there was a guy standing outside of the lookout barrier out on this point. So we got a really good picture of a guy standing out on the edge of one of those lookout places. There's a guy standing there, and then here's the Grand Canyon. He looked like about this big, and took out really good pictures. And anyway, so that was that. Then we went, I don't remember which order this goes in. Flagstaff. No, hang on. We did the meteor crater before we did Grand Canyon. That's right. We went to the meteor crater because that's by Flagstaff. And went out there. It was too windy to be able to do the rim walk. So we basically just went out to one of their lookouts where you had the binoculars and things where you can look through and see all that. And you see their little spaceman standing down there in the bottom of the crater and everything else. And it was very windy. And they closed off any walks and all of that. So we got to watch all the movies and things. It was actually pretty good. And we did not get our free cookie at Subway, but we've still got the coupon for it. But it was very interesting about, it was just a very interesting thing to listen to and talk about and things like that too. So that was pretty cool. Then the next day we went to the Grand Canyon. Then we stayed at some place on our way to Vegas, because we stayed at this place. We had a really cool breakfast the next morning. And, we stayed at Kingman. That's right. We stayed at Kingman in Arizona. We stayed at Kingman in Arizona and had a really great, they had an awesome breakfast. It was the Best Western, and they had an awesome breakfast the next morning. And so we did that. And then we went to the Hoover Dam. And so we've gone from the big plane from space to the big tram up the mountain to the big red rocks, to the hole in the ground, to the big crack in the ground. And I will tell you this, it just cracks me up. The first time I flew over I was flying from Los Angeles to the East Coast, and the pilot came on and said, if you've never seen it before, if you look out the left side of the plane, which I happened to be sitting on in the window seat, he says, you'll see the Grand Canyon. And I looked down, and the only impression I got from however high up we were was that it looked like the top of a chocolate cake with a crack in it. If you've ever seen those chocolate cakes that have the crack across the top, that's what it looked like from the plane to me. So we saw the big crack in the ground. Then we went and saw the big dam at the Hoover Dam and did the tour of that, and that was really interesting. We go to get back to the car, and we're on like the second or third level of the car park, And there are these, I don't know exactly, I think they might have been SWAT guys or something, but they were all in black. They may have been HRT, I don't know, but they were abseiling down the side of the parking building. They were some law enforcement of some sort. I don't know if they were SWAT, if they were HRT, I don't know. They were all in black. They had all their gear on. They were geared up. There was nothing on there to identify which outfit they were with. And they were abseiling down the side of the parking building, which was kind of interesting. And then we went into Vegas and saw all the big lights and it was the first time that I've been to Vegas that I actually got to see the Bellagio fountains, which was pretty cool. We stood there for a while and I videotaped some of them. They're on my YouTube channel if you want to go see them. On one of them, you may actually hear me singing. Just a heads up, just a warning. And so we saw that and we walked a lot in Vegas. We walked a lot. We stayed at Excalibur. It was like $18 a night. We were there on, it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday or something. It was like $18 for the night. But their resort fees were like $36. The resort fees were like twice the price of the room. But anyway, we had a great time staying there and we walked a lot. We went and saw all the free shows that they have on, like down by the Mirage where they have the volcano thing going. We went into Paris with and saw all their stuff there. We went into the Venetian and saw, we didn't do it, but we saw the gondolas on the canals there. And we just had a blast just walking around and doing all of this stuff for free. And we walked, after we'd seen the fountains, we walked into the Bellagio and of course they got all the glass blown flowers on the ceiling there. They had these fantastic floral displays behind the front desk. Then we walk into this area and it's just all plants. Everything is plants. And they had this set up. They had like this giant watering can. They had this big giant garden hand shovel that you use. A big garden glove, all made out of plants. They had these horses that were made out of plants. They had this, it looked like a greenhouse. They'd turned it into an aviary. It had all these different birds inside there. It was incredible. We spent a lot of time just walking around and just looking at things and just taking pictures of them and they had like, big pieces of art that were all done with plants. It looked fantastic. It was amazing. We spent a good amount of time in there. And then of course we walked all the way back to Excalibur again. And then, Brad was tired and we did. And so Mum, Dad and I, because you can walk from hotel to hotel to hotel to hotel on some of them. And so we went downstairs at Excalibur. We took the corridor through to, what's on next to Excalibur? The Luxor. And then took that through to Mandalay Bay. And then we walked down this hallway that took you to another part of Mandalay Bay that was all under construction and everything else. And then we turned around and at one point it into being spa-like. You got the Mandalay Bay with the Asian influence, and then you walk into the Zen area. So it was very Zen with the sounds and the water and everything. And then on our way back, we found the speakeasy because we totally missed it on the way through one way. On the way back, there's the speakeasy. But it was really cool, and just seeing all the different bits and pieces around and things like that. So we kept ourselves entertained and found really cool places to go eat and that sort of stuff as well. And then after Vegas, we headed back home to San Diego. It was we called it the big trip because we saw the big city with the big lights. We went outside in the evenings for walks so Mum and Dad could see the lights of the strip. And it was just a really cool evening. We had a lot of fun there. We went to one buffet that, buffets in Vegas are just out of this world. They really are. They're out of this world. And so then today that's what I found. So then I got rid of that box, cleaned that box out. I had a whole bunch of stuff that went into recycling on that one. It's amazing how many travel brochures and travel flyers and stuff that I have and all of that sort of thing. And so then I was going through one thing and I came across this. Those that don't know what this is an iPod. We used to carry them. You would plug your headphone in here. You'd use the wheel to navigate. You have a menu and then you got side by side and then a play button. And you also have the button in the middle as well. This one is an 80 gig. It says so on the back. This was the 80 gig one. I don't know if it still goes. I got to find the power plug for that one. And I also have to find the power plug for this one. So, what did I do with it? Where is it? There it is. Yes. Show you another one in a minute. So there was this one here, which has the belt buckle thingy on the back. You put the headphone in the top here as normal. It's got a little slidey switch to turn it on and off. There's no power on this one. See, no power. I have to find the power cord for this one. It works the same as this one did. This is a 30 gig. This is an 80 gig. Yeah, no, they're definitely out of power. Oh, there's a piece of paper in this one. And that's how we used to carry our music around. I've got no idea why I have a piece of paper that says Dell Dimension DIM 3000. I have no idea what that is. But it was on a piece of yellow paper tucked in the iPod. Must have been important at some point in time. So yeah, so these were our ways of listening to music a few years ago, before smartphones. And then then I found this. And at first I was like, what the heck is this? And I was like, oh, I know what this is. So it's an armband, goes around the armband, and will this come out of there? Yes, it will. And it's got a clip, this clippy thing here that goes through this little slot here, so you can wear it on your armband. And when it's off the armband, you can now use the clippy thing to put on your belt, on your pocket, wherever you want to put it. There's nothing in here right now, and I don't know where the insides of this is, but this was a little mini iPod. This is how big it was. So this is, regular iPod, little mini iPod. I can't remember how many gigs this held, but you didn't have the screen. These ones here had the screen so you could see the playlists and everything and navigate to them. These ones, it was just potluck. Basic, and you could, I just dented the window thingy on this. Yeah, and so you could wear this on the armband in your pocket, wherever. And it was just a little mini iPod. And so you just had to, I don't like that song, click to go to the next one, click to go to the next one. You didn't have a menu on this one. So you had to make sure the ones that were on here were ones that you really wanted to listen to. So yeah, that was kind of fun finding that. I got to see if I do still have the mini iPod. I don't even know if that's what it was called, but I still have it somewhere. And there's the hole in the top for the headphone to come out. I still have it somewhere, and when I find it, I will show it to you. But yeah, so that was my little trip down memory lane today, and seeing, I think I put that on upside down and back to front. Found lots of different brochures and stuff. I found a lot of client files that have now been shredded. Different trips I've booked for different clients and things, and itineraries for other stuff I've been on. But this one with the big trip, that was kind of cool. I did that with my mum and dad. We had a lot of fun with that one, the four of us. So yeah, so that was our trip down memory lane. So, as you sort through stuff, decide, what you're going to keep, I'll probably still keep that stuff because it's a story. And what I'm going to do with this stuff though here is scan it as best I can. And then just tell the story of that journey. I've got photos to back it all up. I've still got all the photos and everything else. They're sitting in my Forever account. But to be able to scan this stuff and put it into that album with it too. I've got the hotel receipts there. We've got the maps from the hotel, and there's some pieces missing from this, but I'm sure I'm going to find them somewhere along the way. But right now I'm out of here. I'm going to go have something to eat and get some more water, and then go tackle some more boxes. I'm not sure what time I'm going to finish tonight, but I need to find those notes, either find the notes or fill the recycling bin. Those are the only two ways I can stop and sheer exhaustion. But I do need to take a shower before I go to bed tonight, and I don't want to go to bed with wet hair, so I have to work backwards on that one. But anyway, go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. I've got my LinkedIn class, my AI class on tomorrow night. So have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you at 6:30 tomorrow evening. He konara.